All right, moving along in our series here, we are on the fifth Ennead, which is titled The Way of Quenching Desire. Chapter 37. What does it mean to be lowered in self-exaltation? When we hold to the body and the things of the senses, we descend into the lust of ourselves. We fall in love with ourself. This is what it means to be lowered in self-exaltation. Regarding our temporal body rather than the eternal way, we lose our natural simplicity and peace. We become unnatural, agitated, vexed and turbid with desire, afraid to be deprived of the objects of our lust, afraid not to reach the goals of our ambitions, afraid of hunger, thirst, death, and the separation of the body. Therefore, said the ancient sage, we have fears because we have a body. When we do not regard that body as ourself, what do we have to fear or be distressed about? What do we have to fear or be distressed about? And the way, when he became flesh, said, take no thought for your life, what you shall eat, neither for the body, what you shall put on. If the maker of things clothes the grass, which is today in the field, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you? Turning our eye to desire for the things of the senses, we become blind to their inner essences. We see them not as words within the primal word, thoughts of the primal mind. Therefore, said the ancient sage, the 5 colors blind men's eyes. The 5 tones deafen men's ears. The 5 flavors dull men's sense of taste. Galloping and hunting derange men's minds. Rare articles lead astray. On this account, the sage regards not the eye, but the inner things. He dwells not in the flower, but in the fruit. He puts aside the one and takes the other. Again, the ancient sage said, stop the aperture, close the door, and one's whole life will be undisturbed. Open the aperture and become urgent for business, and one will never find completion. And then the way, when he became flesh, said, when you pray, enter into your closet, and when you have shut the door, pray to your Father who is in the secret place. The closest of the soul is the body. The aperture of the door is the 5 bodily senses. The secret place is the heart. The soul enters the closet when the mind does not wander, does not scatter itself hither and thither, does not roam among things and affairs of the world. The door is closed when the senses are not attached to created things. The secret place is entered when the mind, disregarding all intrusive thoughts and images, descends into the secret place, imprisons itself there, and in this imprisonment at last finds peace. Be not of doubtful mind, says the way. Take no thought for tomorrow shall take thought for its own things. Rather seek first the kingdom of heaven, for it is the Father's good pleasure to give it to you. The kingdom comes not through observation, for it is within you. Enter into your closet, and your Father, who sees in secret, shall reward you openly. Chapter 38. The great way, said the ancient sage, is never without desire. Desire for created things disturbs the original harmony, the primal oneness, perfect love. Such desires derives from the two, from separation. It chases after its object, clings to its object, is anxious and disturbed. Desire for the created things equals torment, because such desire can never be fulfilled. Torment begins when the primal oneness, perfect love, is broken. Thus said the ancient sage, embrace simplicity, lessen selfishness, diminish desire. The sage acts without desire, hence he never fails. He never grasps, hence he never loses. He who keeps to the way will not desire to be filled. When one is attached to oneself and to the senses, one strives to fill oneself through self-love and sensual pleasure. But the more one strives, the more empty one becomes. In order to become full, one must empty oneself. Thus said the ancient sage, in pursuit of learning, every day something is acquired. In pursuit of the way, every day something is dropped. Losing and losing, till you come to the state of acting without selfish desire. When you act selfishly, nothing is left undone. Ever without desire, the great way empties himself into his creation. Out of love and complete self-giving, he empties himself. Yet being the unchanging cause of all things, he remains ever full. Quenching their desire for created things, followers of the way likewise empty themselves out of love and complete self-giving. For in emptying themselves as he does, they are ever filled with him, the ever full. Chapter 39. Cast off selfishness, said the ancient sage, and curtail desire. Self-denial is the way to perfection. When desire is quenched in the nadir of the valley, one sees all that is and moves beneath the surface. Dead men see everything. Therefore, said the sage, emptied of desire, one can see the mystery. Filled with desire, one can see only the manifestations. Beneath the brittle surface, the vain, self-interested, clinging love, the maddening longing which only obscures what lies below, there is a silently flowing river, a river of compassion, bowels of mercy, a feeling of the other's pain, flowing into a vast, vast ocean of sorrow. It is the sorrow of a great funeral, the death of sensual love. Although it is a sorrow, one enters it willingly with joy, for there is such tenderness in its pain. And at last, in this sorrow, there is perfect freedom. That is the love that never dies, it never fails, a proof of immortality. This is the pain that the everlasting way embraced willingly, sharing our pain. This is the cross that he asks us to bear. This is the death that he asks us to die. And at last, in his death, there is perfect peace. Chapter 40. The ancient sage, follower of the way, said, he who aims at life achieves death. There are people who every movement leads them to the land of death because they cling to life. The holy man cares nothing for himself, and yet he is preserved. It is not because he has no selfish desires that he is able to succeed. Is it not because he has no selfish desires that he is able to succeed? And the way, when he became flesh, said, whoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. He who wants the things of this life craves for this life. He who wants the things of this life but cannot have them craves for death. But he who has quenched desire, craves for neither life nor death. The two are the same to him, and he passes from one to the other without fear or agitation, as from joy to joy. He is like the way of heaven himself, who creates and nourishes life, yet creates without possessing. Because the follower of the way does not take possession of life. Death does not possess him. Chapter 41. He who bore the world's burden upon himself said, come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and lowly in heart. And you shall find rest unto your souls, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Follow me, says the way, down into the deep pools of the valley, where the water ever empties itself, is ever emptied, yet never full. Follow me like the stream unto the lowest place, the place all people disdain, and there you will find rest. Emptied you will be ever full. If you have not found rest, that means you have not reached the lowest place. You have not lost everything, but are still on the slope of the valley, clinging with fear and bloody hands to the rough, brittle crags. Better then that you had not descended at all, but had remained on the surface. Count the cost. If you descend, you must descend with me all the way down, there to die, that you may be born. For the way leads to eternity, and the ancient sage, said the ancient sage, and though your body ceases, you will not be destroyed. Chapter 42. There is no greater sin than desire, said the ancient sage, no greater curse than discontent. Not seeing desirable things prevents confusion of the heart. Hence the sage desires non-desire. By not wanting, there is calm. And at the nadir of the valley, there is no more thought. There is only he who is beyond thought. Being himself pure, incomplex, unique thought. Thought in which there is no duality arising from desire, but only the oneness of perfect love. Within the perfect oneness, there is no more separation. No more separation between joy and sorrow. Joy and sorrow are united, forming the feeling which is beyond feelings, and which is called dispassion. The fullness of joy and the fullness of sorrow, their fullness abiding in a common emptiness, felt as a sweet contrition. This is peace. Peace that comes after the storm of desire has passed. This is oneness. Oneness that comes when the duality of contending no longer holds sway, and when the desire to possess the object has been taken away. At the nadir of the valley, blessed are they who weep, for they possessing nothing are the sole inheritors of and possessors of joy. Chapter 43. Come to me, says the way. The way seems long because you cannot see the end. But when you reach the end and look back, the way will seem very short. And you will see that you could never have known happiness unless you had known that sadness of following the way which seemed so long. You will be thankful. You will be glad that things happened just as they did, that they are just as they are. You will be thankful in the harbor, if only you can endure to the end. Chapter 44. To be empty is to be filled, said the ancient sage. To be tattered is to be renewed. Follow me, says the way. Descend into the valley, enter the city, and then be raised up with me in ignominy. Torn and tattered, dragged down to the most abased place on earth, atop the highest tree, on the highest hill outside the city. Follow me, says the way, hollow, empty, selfless, resting in forsakingness. There abide in me as I abide in you. Follow me to where the lowly ones wait, abandoned in the bowels of the earth. Then, up the valley path, we reach the flat land, and there hearts burn when they see us. Mounting the clouds of heaven, we climb to where no man has yet climbed, and come to a gate no man has yet entered. I have shown you the way, and I leave myself with you. The world laughs, it is wise to be prudent, but I am made foolish, and I weep with sorrow. But see, in this realm where no man has gone, which no man can glimpse, I have opened the mysterious gate to you. Enter into my joy, you have tasted my pain. Abide in the highest, you who have been abased in the depths with me. Be filled with me, you who have been emptied with me, be renewed. You who have been tattered with me, taste incorruption. You who have lain in the grave with me. The way has been opened, history has been renewed. The way of return has been effected. The groaning earth waits for you to see that you need to wait no longer. Last chapter, chapter 45. All the way down to where you no longer calculate and think, and care not what others think. All the way down to where you have nothing to lose, nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. This is the point of emptiness. Emptiness penetrates the impenetrable, said the ancient sage. The softest things in the world overcome the hardest. Through this, I know the benefit of acting without desire. Acting without desire, you will see a flesh of the beauty you had forgotten from when you were a little child. A little child does not calculate. Humble, he has not yet formed the desires which break the original unity and harmony. Soft and yielding like water, his mind is therefore boundless. Spontaneous, he accepts without thought the course that all things follow. Therefore said the ancient sage, follower of the way, one who possesses abundant virtue resembles an infant child. This is the consummation of harmony. In the way, when he took flesh, said, whoever shall humble himself as this little child, the same is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Again, the ancient sage said, controlling the breath to make it gentle, one can be as a little child. Then, when desire arises, one can put them to death with the way of nameless simplicity. Descending with the mind into the secret place of the heart and gently checking the breath. Followers of the way now call upon the name of him who had once been nameless. And the way who took flesh puts to death all the passions of their flesh, all pride, ambition, rancor, and resentment, purifying their hearts, recreating them in his image, the image of a pure and innocent child, the image of the nameless simplicity.